history which have helped define us as a nation, and tonight some of our best-known Aussies rate their favourite cultural moments.
They are the defining landmarks on our cultural landscape. A song that captured a moment, a film that captured the world.
That's a knife.
A character that captured our imaginations.
I might be fat, but I'm not dumb.
All part of the nostalgic pavlova that is Australian popular culture. But what are the defining moments of the past half-century, as seen by some of its movers and shakers? Entrepreneur Dick Smith, a man whose personal success story is part of our folklore. He chimes in with his own top 3 cultural moments of the past 50 years.
It's raining men.
At number 3, Australia's first ever gay and lesbian Mardi Gras. At number 2, Don Lane's famous dummy spit before the astounded skeptic James Randi.
Commercial break, and you can go. We'll be back with Diana Trey.
And Dick's top pick for the cultural event that changed Australia.
My number 1 is that incredible march of the returned Vietnam veterans. Remember, it wasn't when they returned, it was a decade later.
These events say that we're rather different from the myths about Australia.
Sydney Morning Herald's pop culture vulture David Dale sifted through his nostalgia database, coming up with his own top 3 flashbacks, with a few surprises. At number 3, Barry Humpharies creates the unforgettable Dame Edna Everage.
What a wonderful opportunity.
At number 2, The King, Graham Kennedy's Tonight Shows.
Rover? Oh, he's...
And at number 1, the release of that other national anthem, Men at Work's Land Down Under.
Attention please, Station 2CH advice.
Radio legend Bob Rogers, who's covered some of Australia's life-shaking moments, reminisces. At number 3, the arrival of our very own Top 40 pop chart on local radio, and the birth of our very first homegrown pop stars, Cole Joy and Johnny O'Keefe. At number 2...
And I can remember in 1956 receiving a record of a new singer called Elvis Presley. It just changed the whole world of music, rock and roll.
And at number 1, no surprises here, the Beatles' first and only tour of Australia in 1964, with John, Paul, George, Ringo and Bob.
What do you expect to do? Hong Kong. Well, Bob.
It was madness. And this hysteria occurred. I think to this day no one can pinpoint it.
Where's the guest of honor?
Not here yet.
Yeah, it was a very emotional period on the show. There have been a lot of emotional periods on Healers.
For John Wood, alias Senior Sergeant Tom Croydon, star of Aussie favourite Blue Healers, the shooting of Lisa McCune's character, Senior Constable Maggie Doyle, signalled a new era in Australian television. An era where our Antipodean scriptwriters began to copycat their more daring Hollywood counterparts, up the ante in the shock tactics and dare to kill off a national icon.
To farewell a character that was as much loved by the public as Maggie Doyle was. And of course Lisa was loved even more, I think.
Who scored a few of those elusive gold logies.
She did.
Sorry to bring that up. That Americanisation of our TV shows hit fever pitch with the Australian Idol phenomenon.
It's harder and harder and harder for a new act to get a record deal. So a show like Idol that gives a young person an opportunity to go in front of, 1.5 million people week after week after week and develop an audience, that's just, that means an awful lot.
Judge and jester Mark Holden.
We love to see young people blossom. We love to see people at the start of their careers, and we also like to see people crash and burn.
I will always love you.
There's going to have to be an annual reunion.
I guess so, yeah. Maybe my place. You're all invited.
And if that's really an invitation, we'll